welcome to my Bitcoin story. And today we are going to Africa. We have a special guest, Master Guantai. He is the founder of BitcoinMtaani. He's also 99% technical analysis day trader in multiple asset classes and former Naval Police Officer in the Kenya Defense Forces. So welcome to the show, Guantai.
Thank you very much, dear. It's an honor to be on your platform.
You're welcome. So today we are going to talk about Bitcoin in Africa because I think a lot of people haven't really heard a lot about what's going on in Africa, but I'm pretty sure Bitcoin has a lot of adoption in Africa itself. So yeah, maybe we can start first from you to
Yeah.
maybe share your Bitcoin story. How was your Bitcoin story? How did you find out Bitcoin, especially in your country in Kenya?
Yes, thank you once more. I found out about Bitcoin in 2017, but I actually got into the rabbit hole in 2009. It was mentioned during one of the podcasts that I was learning about technical analysis on YouTube. So I was aggressively studying about technical analysis in regards to forex trading when I just lost $1,000 in a trading during forex trading. So when it came up during the channel, one of the Discord forums, I was very keen because I had already learned a lot from those individuals. So slowly by slowly, I started listening to podcasts. I started with the Pump podcast, and then at the same time, I was learning about things which people would, the ordinary Tom, Dick, and Harry would think they are very crazy, like the Federal Reserve being privately owned, while still at the same time, it prints the world reserve currency, which is the dollar. So I've come a long way in learning step by step till today. We have websites like Bitcoin is Hope by Michael Saylor, where no one has found the bottom of the Bitcoin rabbit hole yet. So we continue to learn and teach others.
Mm-hmm. So you said that you first started um, through learning about technical analysis for forex, but then you found out about Bitcoin, and
Yeah,
like how, like I mean, I just want to know, especially in Kenya, like how was the situation, how is the economy situation in Kenya, and what do you think of Bitcoin at that time?
at that time, a lot of people are not taking uh, Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency seriously yet, because if there is one thing that has picked the attention of people to a point where they can no longer ignore it, is obviously number go up. But at that time, a lot of people were skeptical because of, in Africa, things like period schemes and multi-level marketing has led to very many people losing their money with the hopes of maybe investing it in something where they hope to get quick returns. So only a select few of tech savvy or people you would say that were in the know, were even in such Discord forums where a person could be in a position to learn about Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. So okay, so yeah, I just want to know, like, how normally people in Africa use Bitcoin, like at the moment. Like, do people like, let's say in Kenya, use that for trading or transaction? How is it?
Right now, people are using it in both ways, and then you add majority of the people who are using it as a store of value. But in regards to trading, actively trading it on a day by day basis, there are people who trade it. Unfortunately, like most the trading aspect of it, very many people blow their accounts first before they can really sit down and study the nitty-gritty in regards to trading. Because what happens is they use a lot of leverage, don't follow a clear criteria in regards to their trading strategy and their trading psychology. So more often than not, they end losing large sums of money. All they invested in trading with high leverage. So after that, they get very discouraged and tend not to go into it again.
Mm,
In regards to
so many
when it, yes,
so many people are actually using it for trading, yeah, in Kenya.
only a few are using it for trading. The most are using it as a store of
Oh,
value.
value. Okay. Okay, got
When
it.
it comes to a medium of exchange, in Kenya, a lot of people use M-Pesa. M-Pesa, it makes it very simple for people to send money from one person to another, regardless of if it's from an individual to another or paying for goods. So, in that regard, as a means of exchange, it has not yet gained enough traction to be popularly used as a medium of exchange. But with now coming with now Lightning wallets being available, I think that will change because of even the cost implication
Mm. But
when it comes to large sums of money. Yes,
but yeah, this is very interesting because Africa is very like M-Pesa is very popular in Africa and Kenya especially.
true.
So uh, like what would be the advantage of Bitcoin in comparison to M-Pesa? Like, do you think people in Kenya will want to use Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, or you don't see that's gonna happen?
When it comes to M-Pesa versus Bitcoin, I actually even have a blog written about it. It's something that I've given quite some thought. And what I can say categorically is the transaction cost for M-Pesa transactions goes up as the amount of money you want to send increases. But now when it comes to Bitcoin, because the the amount of money you are charged to do a Bitcoin transaction is not necessarily pegged to the amount you're transacting. At certain amounts, let's say when someone is buying, let's float a figure, let's say of 100,000 and beyond, using a lightning wallet would be would they would incur less cost than using
Mm,
M-Pesa.
mm-hmm,
So if only people would be cognizant of that fact, knowing that they are saving on the fees, they would be very incentivized to use Bitcoin instead
mm-hmm,
of M-Pesa.
mm-hmm,
And then the second point being M-Pesa offers loans to people in but they look at your credit score. And
mm-hmm,
very many young people have taken loans at one point or another and did not pay. So they suffer from bad credit, or they are totally blacklisted, so they cannot borrow using the M-Pesa platform. So for youth like that who maybe have a small scale business and right now they need to do their transaction. If they used Bitcoin, they would get access to they would get access to loan facilities without having to suffer the consequences of being blacklisted in the Kenya Credit Bureau. So that will be another incentive for youth and young adults.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah. So and M-Pesa is still centralized, yeah. Is there any incident where people cannot withdraw their money in M-Pesa? Is there any things like that? Like how it is it in a bank?
Actually, it's like a common joke in Kenya that when you have your money in M-Pesa, there is no M-Pesa bank. You can't go to a physical place where everyone knows Safaricom PLC
Mm-hmm.
the owns M-Pesa, but they do not have a physical bank where you can go maybe do a transaction, which is a physical bank, with even the servers not being in Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one disadvantage where sometimes they are very efficient. I cannot deny that, but sometimes they can be doing there are some delays which are experienced. Let's say the customer care is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So there are some challenges associated with M-Pesa, but those two primarily when it comes to the transfer fees, which people have been complaining, the charges are exorbitant, and the transaction costs for those two, people can see the value of using Bitcoin, especially the Lightning Network.
Mm. But
Yeah.
is Lightning Network is something that growing right now in Kenya, or does people know about it, or it's still fairly new in Kenya?
That is a great question. I would like to answer it in regards to the the access to knowledge in regards to Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Bitcoin education in Kenya, the mainstream media does a very big disservice to Kenyans in general, and that is the trend when you go across Africa. When I say that, I mean during during the evening news, which is watched by millions of Kenyans and Africans all over the continent, they'll only dedicate 5 to 15 minutes out of a 2 hour news program to cover business news. In those 5 to 15 minutes, they only cover certain very pertinent business news, of which Bitcoin specifically never gets coverage. When you look at very, very big events such as MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin by in the billions of dollars, or Tesla accepting Bitcoin for their motor vehicles, such news never ever reaches the general public
Mm-hmm.
because the the financial journalists or the owners of the media station do not deem it newsworthy. So when you look at it from that lens, even just an ordinary open-minded person who could see the value of Bitcoin or learn a little from it, maybe from the media, and then go do their own research, does not get that information.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But
So
now, but now, obviously, through efforts such as yourself with your podcasts, with YouTube being very popular, a
mm-hmm.
lot of Kenyans and Africans across the continent are coming to learn about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically through numerous platforms such as yours.
Mm-hmm.
So we are very, very grateful for such a platform such as yours. And now that is why I decided to start BitcoinMtaani, because I saw I saw the gap whereby millions of Africans are disenfranchised actively from from gaining knowledge about Bitcoin and blockchain technology in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Because if I know, like in your part of the world, not everyone is cognizant in Western languages.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the same issue when it comes to Kenya. We can't concretely say that everyone understands English, unfortunately. So if legitimate Bitcoin content is translated to uh, a number of African national languages such as Kiswahili in East Africa, that will go a very, very long way in getting millions more of
Mm.
Africans who would not have gotten the opportunity to even know about Bitcoin to now embrace Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, education is very important, I think, in yeah, in everywhere. And it's also what is beautiful about YouTube as well, and platforms such as Twitter. It connects everyone from around the world to understand and to expedite the learning curve about crypto and Bitcoin.
that's true because like we can give even the example like how you came to give me the gracious invitation to your platform. I just watched your interview in the morning, so I saw the importance of what Asian Hodl is doing in regards to Project 5020. So I took it upon myself to go retweet it on Twitter. So through that, we actually started engaging, and now up to now I got the opportunity to come to your platform. So through especially LinkedIn for me and Twitter, I've gotten to meet, engage, and continue to collaborate with a lot of like-minded people in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Um, I would also touch base again from what you said earlier, that many Kenyan using Bitcoin as a store of value. So maybe how is it the current economy situation in Kenya? Like why people want to save their money in Bitcoin in Kenya?
I can answer it with a very short story, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The A very good example when it comes to Kenya is the rule of law is not always followed by the government of the day. And that unfortunately is a reality that every Kenyan is currently facing right now. A great example is during the last elections, and Africa is known for having, unfortunately, some troubles here and there when it comes to the peaceful transition of power after democratic elections. So what happened during the past elections? A certain lawyer not who was on the opposing side of the government of the day really went aggressively against them, and now they decided to use his double citizenship against him. He was a citizen of Kenya by birth, but had dual citizenship in the law. He was also a citizen of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up withdrawing his Kenyan passport and deporting him to Canada by force.
Mm.
Now, the Kenyan courts, obviously, in Kenya, you cannot be denied your citizenship if you are a citizen by birth.
Mm-hmm.
And even the whole process of extraditing him from Kenya to Canada was so brutal because you had law enforcement breaking into his house, him being taken aggressively through the airport, such kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
the Kenyan court actually decided to compensate him a certain amount of money. They said his passport should be returned and he should come back to his country. So you should bear in mind, he is an established lawyer. He has property in Kenya, he has savings, his parents are over here. So when he's in Canada, when during his first flight, he had even lost his shoes when he was incarcerated. So he was actually wearing slippers. So up to going the whole process of going to Canada, he was even humiliated because he lacked even money to cater for his basic needs. So that is um, a living example which any Kenyan today and any African, regardless of their political divide, can know and see that if someone like such and such a lawyer who was very prominent, that happened to him, they can see the beauty in having your store of value being Bitcoin, because now with your seed phrase, regardless of what happens to a bank may collapse. Um, your government may decide to do away with you, but regardless of where you go in the world, you just need an internet connection to have access to your wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And most people's um yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people see the value of Bitcoin in Kenya because of that. Yeah, because if anything happen, they can take their wealth with them
yeah,
wherever they
that
go.
that is very, very true in Kenya and in Africa, and it is only, you see, like that example, everyone in Kenya knows about it. So when explaining it to a Kenyan or an African, they can immediately recognize it.
Mm.
The second thing I would like to say, which if properly articulated to African citizens, which they can grasp the seriousness of how they are disenfranchised by the fiat-based legacy financial system, is that a deposit in their commercial bank account is not their money, because they they are not, it is, they are told it is a deposit, but that is misinformation, because they are not guaranteed to be paid that amount in full at any time they deem it fit, because they are actually giving an unsecured loan to a bank. But now, how many Africans know about that? They just think that when you deposit your money, you can come to the bank anytime and get it.
Mm. And what about this? Like, let's say in Indonesia right now, there is like a talking there's like a conversation to create a central bank digital currency.
Yes.
And does this thing also something that is like emerging in Kenya central bank? And what does people think about the central bank digital currency, and what do you think it's gonna do, like the central bank digital currency in Kenya?
When it comes to Kenya specifically, a central bank digital currency is not a matter of if but when,
Mm-hmm.
because the central bank governor has been has been quoted numerously and has even appeared on different medium, articulating the points, basically echoing uh, what the Fed and people like Christine Lagarde and Janet Yellen are saying in regards to giving false talking points in regards to Bitcoin, favoring their central bank digital currency. At the end of the day, I do not spite him for rooting for central bank digital currencies because that is basically his job. He's employed by the government to represent as the central bank governor to represent the interests now of the Kenyan third world fiat currency. So to me, it is just more challenge now to Africans like me and to people like yourself to really put out the information about how detrimental the central digital currencies will be more so than the current fiat-based, paper-based printing of currencies, and showing people that Bitcoin truly is the sole option they have in regards to opting out of the current system and to self-sovereignty.
Hmm. But what would be the difference though between CBDC and M-Pesa? Because I think both of them all somehow the same digital, and then it's being issued by the bank already. Do you think there will be like a clash between the CBDC and M-Pesa?
There was a clash between M-Pesa and Bitcoin already, you can say so,
Mhm.
because there was a company which tried to use there was a company called BitPesa which was actively trying to get people to buy Bitcoin directly through M-Pesa, not P2P.
Mhm.
So now they went to court, but the M-Pesa had its day. And so right now, Kenya, you can only buy Bitcoin through peer-to-peer trading, which by itself is a hurdle to some people because they do not understand they see it's like they do not trust the in between, and they don't see the credibility. They don't understand where they cannot buy it directly. So when it comes to central bank digital currencies and M-Pesa, the government and M-Pesa, it will be in Safaricom's Safaricom and M-Pesa would embrace the CBDC as opposed to Bitcoin because first and foremost, the government wants the central bank digital currency so that they can, like the excessive loans African governments have taken the the East already, like China. China leading the charge in regards to central bank digital currencies means African countries can be forced by China because they are not in a position to pay their debts to trade with China using central bank digital currencies. And now once the West adopts that template, because there's no way the United States government or the European Union would will embrace Bitcoin and leave the opportunity to have a central bank digital currency which they can manipulate. It all means that central banks in Africa will be forced by the East and the West, and they are all self-interest to embrace central bank digital currencies. Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's very interesting what you said that right now, um, citizen use peer to peer to buy Bitcoin and to sell Bitcoin. And I mean, we seen what happened in Nigeria, right? Like the government
True.
trying to ban Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency, but because peer to peer is already the place where people go to buy Bitcoin, so it's I think it's very impossible for central banks in Africa to ban Bitcoin or like to regulate
They
Bitcoin even.
Yeah, it's totally impossible because what even most people do in Kenya, you find that maybe I have some Bitcoin, but in uh, in, despite despite now me going through the whole hurdle of going to Binance, maybe selling it, getting some currency through M-Pesa, I just make an effort of getting a network of 2 or 3 people that I know locally, that I know physically, that can that use Bitcoin, who I can make a call to, tell them I'll send you M-Pesa worth 2,000 shillings. You send me Bitcoin
Mm.
worth 2,000 shillings, and vice versa. So it is actually an immediate transaction, because immediately after I make the phone call and hang up, I'll send you 2,000 shillings through M-Pesa, which will take less than a minute to, let's say even a minute. And then you, through my Lightning wallet, you can send me the Bitcoin worth 2,000 shillings. So it's actually an immediate thing which the government cannot control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're the peer-to-peer trading is not even through a platform like Paxful or local Bitcoin. It's just a local community that do the peer-to-peer trading already.
No, both exist, because like Paxful and Binance are predominantly the biggest exchanges in
Mm-hmm.
Africa. But even now, the ones I'm telling you, the local ones, exist between networks of, let's say, people you have gotten to interact with, and certain people who have actually opened, like they get a certain premium out of selling it. So they maybe, you can find it's a person who has an M-Pesa shop, but at the same time, you can send him M-Pesa and he sends you Bitcoin at the same time. So he does that on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh wow. That's very interesting. And especially that people are using Lightning. That's uh that's also really cool. Um
Lightning is very cool because it's instantaneous, and even and secondly, in regards to the cost to transfer the money, which is
mhm,
very important when it comes to bigger sums, especially if you're a person doing business.
mhm.
Yes.
And I read in I forget which is the source, but one of the things that I've read is that right now Africa is known to be the continent that has the biggest young population, like people below 40 years old, 30, yeah, below 35. There's a lot of people, young people in Africa. So
Yeah.
how do you see Bitcoin adoption in young people? Like who are like what is the demography, let's say in Africa, or what is the age of people that hold Bitcoin or buy Bitcoin?
Obviously, the youngest demographic, it's very true what you have said first and foremost. The biggest segment of the African population is the people between 18 to 35 years old. And it is also the segment which is growing at the fastest pace.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even before the current pandemic, the issue that Africa had, which was most troublesome and which remains to be a very big issue in the African continent, is that this segment of the population, the African youth and the young adults, are the ones bearing the brunt in terms of suffering in Africa because of rampant unemployment. And the government is basically not taking care of them in regards to offering opportunities to prosper in life. So when it comes to Bitcoin adoption in Africa, there's even some, I'm not sure if you have seen the latest MasterCard index survey.
Mm, no,
Have
not
you
yet.
seen it?
Not
It,
yet.
it, it came up like just like 2 days ago. It
Mm-hmm.
I can give you the gist of it because it clearly states how strong the now how stronger and stronger the case for Bitcoin is becoming in Africa, because it was a survey done on 15,569 people.
Mm-hmm.
It covered 18 countries, of which in Africa they included Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Out of out of the 15,000 people surveyed, 77% of the millennials stated they had interest in learning more about cryptocurrency,
Mm-hmm.
and 75% of them agreed that they would use Bitcoin if they understood how to use it better.
Mm-hmm.
Now that coming from the Mastercard index for their quarter 1 survey is really good news for the African continent, and really shows that the African youth and young adults are leading the charge from the front, because they recognize the value that Bitcoin can bring to their lives, as opposed to the fiat-based legacy financial system.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can add in regards to that is, we both know that when Mastercard now does a survey, out the 16,000 people, approximately 16,000 people surveyed, we both know that most of them were English speaking people. Maybe they have a Mastercard account, something, they
Mm-hmm.
have a credit card or something,
Mm-hmm.
And now that shows that the a very big subset of the people interviewed in Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa were not were people who were articulate in English, either oral or written. So it shows the other subset of people who do not really understand that language, or are unbanked, thus do not even have access to the services that Mastercard provides, were neglected in the survey. So that proves that if they are given a chance to get legitimate education in Bitcoin and blockchain technology, they can really go a long way in changing their lives. And there are a lot more people in Africa willing to embrace Bitcoin.
Mm. And what do you see the best way to approach the unbanked in Africa and the young people in Africa to learn about cryptocurrency? Like, I mean, I know that you are currently building this platform yourself, but
Yeah,
what do you think what needs to be done so then more people can learn about and can understand about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin?
other than other than using multiple languages to articulate what Bitcoin has to offer African youth and young adults, I I thought about 3 programs which can really accelerate and expedite the Bitcoin adoption in Africa from the grassroots level. One of them is my personal experience, which, if I may ask, were you involved in clubs when you are in primary or secondary school?
Labs, like school labs?
Clubs.
Oh, clubs.
Yeah,
Uh,
school clubs.
yeah. The thing
Wh-
when I was in school, yes.
Which clubs were you in?
I was in journalist club when I was in high school.
But if I may ask, you yourself, you chose to be in that club. It was not chosen for you.
Yeah, like in school, like you can go to you can sign up for any clubs that you want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in my experience, I was in a club called Junior Achievement.
Mm-hmm.
It was a business-based club. They show you how to like start a small business and skills of the sort when I was in secondary school.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed when when a student decides to actively join a club of their own volition, they are more serious to learning what is taught in that club,
Mm-hmm.
and they are more open to sharing it with their friends and their peers or their relatives. So in that regard, I saw approaching primary and secondary school kids with a structured curriculum which involves Bitcoin in a fun way, because most African schools teach theoretically. But
Mm-hmm.
if we can have a Bitcoin club whereby maybe they are reading, they have three concurrent things. Maybe they are reading the Bitcoin standards, and they are getting advice and being explained to about all the questions they have. At the same time, they can have every week, they can have interviews and interactions with people all over the world, such as yourself and other experts and professionals, and they can also get virtual visits, maybe to an exchange like we talked about, Paxful or Binance. That will be a very good way to encourage the kids from a very young age.
Wow, that's very simple. I mean, community, yeah, but I agree. Like clubs, especially for high school kid or like people in college,
Yeah,
clubs is something very impactful for them. That's true. That's a very good idea. Yeah.
yeah. Now that one, Bitcoin for I called it BitcoinMtaani Club.
Mm-hmm.
The other way I saw for it to really impact the youth, especially, is in Kenya we call them chamas. Chamas are cooperative groups where people come together. We decide maybe every month someone, out of let's say 10 people, every month someone contributes like $10 per month, and then maybe we have a certain project. Do you have those in Indonesia?
Well, to be uh yeah, it's a bit funny because I actually have a friend as well in here in Bali. She's from Kenya, and then
Yeah.
we started a Chama group
Yeah.
because she's introduced it to us. And instead of like saving in fiat money, we save
Yes.
we save together in Bitcoin.
Now that's the whole idea. You took
Yeah.
the idea right out of my mouth.
But yeah, I
But
mean it's very cool idea.
it's very very popular, especially among ladies.
Mhm, that's true.
So my idea for the Kenyan perspective is most of them obviously do not know about Bitcoin, so we take it slowly. Instead of taking all their money to saving Bitcoin, I I teach them slowly by slowly and ask them to even keep only 1% to 5% of their money in Bitcoin. Show them how to set up the wallet, teach
Mhm,
them about the benefits and everything. When they slowly by slowly get to learn now about the superiority of Bitcoin and how the legacy financial system is not working for them, they will obviously in time tend to increase their allocation to Bitcoin more than fiat.
mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah. And I heard that in Kenya, the way they do chama is that this group of people, they going to gather the money and then in the end try to use that money for another investment, right? Like for either buying land or yeah, like
yeah, like how I can
business.
explain now that when it comes to that, most of them do that, and now the incentive comes where in by if they put that the percentage of the money they are saving, let's
Mhm.
say because it's like 1 to 5%, instead of them even putting it the whole of it to an offline cold storage wallet, you can advise them to put a portion of it into an
Into.
interest-bearing
Mm-hmm.
fixed deposit account.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, let's say they want to buy a plot of land
Mm-hmm.
and build maybe a certain housing units so that they can be generating rent as revenue for their chama.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell them when you calculate the amount of interest, the money they have in Bitcoin as compared to the money they are just saving in a fixed deposit commercial bank account, the money they are getting in a fixed income interest bearing account, let's say on BlockFi,
Mm-hmm.
in a period of let's put it even in a year or 6 months, when they see the amount of money they are getting and the amount of money BlockFi is willing to give them as a loan now going towards their project with a kind of uh, better terms as compared to a commercial bank in Kenya, now they will come to fully realize the the value now of saving in Bitcoin as opposed to saving in fiat currency.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a wonderful system. And I when I heard that about Chama, yeah, I thought that's really cool because in Indonesia we have this similar thing. We call it arisan, but instead of uh using it for investment or like business, etc., people just use it, yeah, I think just to have a reason to get together and then collect money, and then it's
Yeah.
more like a lottery than than a saving, like a communal saving. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, okay, so I think we are almost at the end of our of our podcast. So how people can support you, how people can find you, Guantai, if they want to connect with you.
People can connect to me through you can go to the BitcoinMtaani page on Twitter. You can also find me at Master Guantai on LinkedIn. I'm sure there will put the links on the description, and I'll also do one blog post in regards to my Bitcoin story with you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight about Bitcoin in Africa and also in Kenya. This is very interesting to learn about what's happening on the ground in different countries, because that's why in the previous episode I invited Asian Hodl, because he's doing this research to find out about Bitcoin usage in the rest of the world. And i think I think everyone should also um actively speak up. Like, I think in every country should also share their own story, but also like we should also connect with each other. And it's very cool that I'm here in Indonesia and you're in Kenya, and then we learn from each other about Bitcoin. And even though it's very far away, like, we are in different continents, yeah, hours away with flights, but the whole there's a similarity in terms of um whatever struggle that we have with fiat money, and how Bitcoin can help a lot of
The
people, yeah, to get to get financial freedom, I say.
I shared about the two projects I've told you about. I shared with the Asian Hodl,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll also send them to you through email. I'm sure you and your Chama friends can improve on what I've started to make it work on your side of the world, and to share with everyone in the world, just for them to make all different versions of what works for them.
All right. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, I think that's it for today podcast. So everyone, please make sure follow Master Guantai in LinkedIn or in Twitter. And thank you so much for being in the show. And I hope you have a wonderful day, Guantai.
Thank you very much. And goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the My Bitcoin story. Stay tuned for more episodes and click that follow button.